We're going to be talking to the subconscious mind to uncover any blocks or imbalances that you have, any baggage that you've been collecting from the past. We're all guilty of doing this. And a lot of times we just don't know how to feel our emotions. And it can even be we don't process them well. We run away from them. We were told we were weak, and they can even be like traumatic events. And our body just immediately, our mind just immediately forms conclusions about the world and labels a lot of things as stranger danger. But the majority of these blocks and imbalances and how we view the world happens the first 7 years of our lives. Our mind is like a sponge, constantly absorbing things, making associations, conclusions, assumptions about the world, about how we fit in the world, how other people fit in our world, and how the world works for us. And so after that, once we kind of get out of the 7-year period around that age, our subconscious mind kind of closes up shop. And this is how we perceive the world. This is how we act. This is kind of like the basis of our personality. And after that, the subconscious mind is just it continues to make associations, and it builds upon the things that we got the first 7 years of our life. And then from there, it's usually from an emotional experience that the mind will add stuff and we will start collecting things. The emotion code just focuses on those trapped emotions, any emotions that you created, you didn't know what to do with, and you decide to hold on to them. And they do hold a lot of information for us. We're still feeling the emotion. It's tied to the memory. And sometimes it will create a limiting belief about you, other people, and the world around you. So they're little sassy little things. But it's not just our baggage that we're holding on to. We're holding on to different types of baggage. Our ancestors, so inherited stuff. We can get things from our mom, our dad, their grandparents, and generations and so forth. That's why they usually say generational trauma. And here we are having to deal with it, and we're the ones who are going to release it. And then we have some prenatal stuff. So if you were in your mother's womb and she had an emotion, she could have just given it to you. We have shared, so you, another person, or a group of people were feeling the same emotion, the same frequency at the same time, and they just kind of fused together and we're going to be besties forever. What's really cool about this is that if you get a shared one and you release it, it gets released from anybody who is attached to this. So that's kind of cool. We have absorbed, which you just absorbed this from another person. You had no business with this emotion. You were just in the wrong place at the right time. And you just absorbed it. Usually an intense emotion that someone is having, usually anger, really upset. And a lot of times we feel sympathy for this person, especially if we care about this person. We don't want them to feel this pain, and we're like, no, give me. I'll take that emotion from you. And then we have preconception, which is usually labeled as past life stuff. So it's not so much inherited, and it's not so much this lifetime. It's just something else. So we just call it preconception trapped emotions. And then we have the body code here, which has 6 different categories. We have energy, which is just emotional wellness, pathogens. So these can actually be physical or energetic. And then, sorry, didn't mean to hit the mic. And then we have circuit or system. So it's everything about your subtle body as well as your physical body. Misalignment, so anything that's a little off. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's just not in alignment, just off a little bit. We have all had those off days. So that's kind of where that is. We have toxins and nutrition and lifestyle. And within each category are subcategories within subcategories. Well, that's, let me go back. Subcategories within subcategories within subcategories. So we're going to get really detailed with the type of energy that you're holding on to that's contributing to any physical, emotional, or mental symptoms. Now, this doesn't mean I'm going to be digging up into your skeleton closet and I'm going to know your deepest, darkest secrets. What this really means is that detailed with, is it an idea allergy? Do you have an unhappy meridian, and so forth? So that's the body code. Now, the belief code and the emotion code is within the body code, but let's go ahead and talk about the belief code real quick. So when I was saying earlier, every single time you create an emotion and you hold on to it, you feel the emotion, it's tied to a memory, and it can create a limiting belief about you, other people in the world around you. And once you keep adding similar experiences together, you have a powerhouse known as a tree. This is kind of a way for us to talk to the subconscious mind to kind of narrow down what we want to release. The subconscious mind is a very complex system where it's like a web of attachments. So you can have one experience, like two different experiences, but your subconscious mind believes that they're the same and will put them together. To your conscious mind, you may be like, I don't know how these fit, but to the subconscious mind, it's like, nope, I could see how these two fit together, so we're going to put them together. And like I said before, a lot of times we get our beliefs the first 7 years of our lives. This is our foundation. So a lot of times we get these silly beliefs, statements about the world because of how we view it at that age. If you think of a kid is just so open and so curious and will pretty much believe anything that we tell them. And so that's kind of how, what's the word I want to use? Influential? How... I can't think of the word, but how very sensitive they are or gullible to what people see, what they experience, or what people say to them, what they see and what they experience. So you have a tree. Now, there are different types of trees that you can have. Some are parallel, where it's multiple trees within a belief system, sometimes even inherited. There can be a split tree where you have like two different roots, but the trunk and the branches are together. But a lot of times it is just this basic tree, just a good old fashioned basic tree. Don't let the name basic fool you. These can be redwoods. It can be sassy. So where's my mouse? Okay. So if we look at the tree, where is my mouse? There it is. So there are 3 to 4 different levels that we kind of work at. We have the conscious mind, which is the branches, the subconscious mind, which is the trunk, and the root, which is the unconscious mind. And sometimes there is some soil, which is also the unconscious mind. It's not always there, but a lot of times it is. So we're going to start with the conscious mind, and we slowly work our way to the unconscious mind, the root of the tree. This is where everything started. This is the theme of the tree. And so since we're starting outwards, some of these statements may not make any sense. We're just like, I don't know. I would never think that. That doesn't make any sense to me. But when you get to the root, we crack the code and everything starts to make sense. And with the statements, don't be married to the statements because they can be customizable. These, in the belief code, these statements, there's a ton of them. They're just very general and they're just basic. They're not your personality. They're not how you talk. So that's why you can always interpret them. So it can be, I need to like think of one that I can think of the top of my head. There's some in like strength. I'm trying to think of like some of my clients who are just get a little sassy with me when I say it. I am weak. So that's a big one because people are like, what do you mean? I'm a strong, independent woman, or I'm a strong man. I don't think I'm weak. Well, maybe you're weak around certain people. Maybe you don't feel like you can stick up for yourself. Maybe physically you feel like you're weak. Maybe you're weak around sugar, like you have no willpower, things like that. So you can interpret these statements in a lot of different ways. So if I say a statement like I can't claim my power and you think of something completely different, then that is what the statement is for you. So they can be very customizable. So once we identify your tree, then we find the fuel source, because this tree is either creating things for you or being fueled by imbalances. So we have to get rid of that first, or the tree will come back once we chop it down, and we don't want that. So we get rid of the fuel source and then we chop the tree down, and then it is gone. Unless you create more experiences for yourself, then it'll create a brand new tree. So that specific tree will be gone, but you can always create your own trees if you don't change your thinking and process your emotions. And then we have the body rhythm reset, which focuses on your body's natural rhythm. Whenever that goes out of whack due to a traumatic event, you not knowing how to process an emotion, stress and so forth, it knocks it out of whack, and so your natural rhythm kind of goes off. And so instead of being like during the day you're more active and at night you switch in the rest of recovery, you're just kind of stuck in the active state. You have poor sleep, poor digestion. It's because your nervous system's out of whack. All the systems are out of whack. So with this one, you can work on like multiple symptoms with this. That's how powerful it is. And we find out around what age was the beginning, was like ground zero, the origin story of all your symptoms. And we remove everything you collected from that event. And what's really cool about this is that anything that happened after that event that's associated with this age will be cleared up too. That's why it's so powerful, and that's why I really like it.